In this video, I want to talk about the beautiful story you are creating every day and the power all of us have to lift up the light in each other. So I was recently on a phone call with a not-for-profit. They were working on a big fundraising gala to kick off their year of fundraising. And it was a phone call with the executives on their team, their board members. They were sitting around a conference table in their office, and I was on the other side of the country on a phone somewhere else talking to them. And when we started the conversation, I asked them to kind of give me an overview of what they did and what they were focused on. And the founder of the organization, who'd started it 25 years ago, launched into that. He spent about 10 minutes explaining to me the clients they served, the work that they did, how they got started, how the organization had evolved over time, all of those things. I've worked with a lot of not-for-profits over the years, and as I was listening to him talk about that, I was feeling in my heart, I was starting to think about all the different people they were helping and the legacy they were creating. And so when he stopped talking after 10 minutes, I said, okay, let me take a shot at giving back what you just gave to me from my perspective as a storyteller, as a filmmaker. And so I launched into that. I started talking about their legacy and the people and the stories, the countless stories of all the people whose lives they had changed and the difference they had made in that community that was beyond being able to be counted or numbered or quantified on a spreadsheet. I talked about, all the stories that they never had heard, that had never come back to them, of all the people they had helped, the lives they had changed, the careers they had launched, the families they had served, the smiles and hugs and that had come from all the tears and sweat and energy and dead ends and frustrations they had been down. And I talked about all of that for about 10 minutes and really just tried to share a story of the heart and spirit of their organization and what they had done. And when I got to the end of sharing it that way, the phone was just silent. And it was silent for 5 seconds and 10 seconds, and which was kind of like, what's going on? Did I lose you guys? And then someone at the table just said, hang on just a second, our founder is crying. And so we just paused for a minute. And then he came back on and he said, I'm so sorry about that. I've been doing this 25 years and I've never had anyone speak our story quite like you just did. And it really touched me. It touched on 25 years of work and effort and commitment from everyone who's been part of that. I don't think I did anything that magical that day. I know that's kind of my work in life, is to tell those sorts of stories, but I don't think I did anything that magical. I think it was just a reality moment for me of realizing that we just don't spend enough time in our lives telling each other and affirming the light and saying, looking each other in the eye and saying to each other, you are a beautiful story. And we may not say it quite that way, but doing things and saying things that affirm and share the beauty that we see in each other. We're just not, our society, our culture, we don't do that quite enough. And I think sometimes we do it with our kids a little bit more. We've been trained about that. But we don't tend to do it with each other and in our workplaces and in our families and with our friends and in our families, in the adults in that world. And so I want to talk about that for a minute. I want to share 3 insights or perspectives that may kind of help you not only do that better, but also see yourself in a different way, which I hope will make a difference for you. Number 1 is we are all insecure, all of us. Even the people you know that seem the most confident, the most strong, the most powerful and courageous, the people that you'd say to yourself, oh my goodness, they don't need that affirmation. They don't need to be told. The truth is, all of us are one phone call away from being on the floor crying. All of us are fragile. All of us have places that we're not in control of. Places in our world that we are fragile. and we are insecure. And although there may be spaces where we feel very confident and very strong and very equipped and very powerful, all of us have spaces where we aren't and where we don't know what we're doing. Even if we put on that front and say, if you say to somebody, I see that good in you, I see something positive, and they give you that sort of Han Solo moment, I know, I already knew that, I didn't need you to tell me that. The reality is they may have been the person that needed that the most. They may be the person that needs you to tell them something else affirming again tomorrow, because that strength you're seeing, sometimes it's kind of a shield to defend ourselves from the thing we're afraid of. Now, some people in life don't need that every day, but I think there's a level in which we all need that. And so if you feel insecure in your life because you feel like everybody else has everything together and you don't, the truth is none of us do. Some of us are better at faking it than others, but none of us really know what we're doing. And none of us feel as confident, as strong as we sometimes project. And so know that first, that we all have a need for that in our life. And number two is, if you see light in someone, speak it. Speak it. Don't wait. Don't say, I don't need to do that. If you see something good in someone else, if you see something positive, take that moment, stop for a second, and say, I see that good in you. That's awesome. I love that in you. I love that part of you. That's beautiful. Or I saw that good thing. That says something great about you. Or, something beautiful is in your world here and I'm proud of you for that. We all need that. And I think the world would be such a nicer, happier, warmer place if all of us cultivated that free skill, that skill that costs nothing, that's really just about perspective, to be able to say, even in the subtle, simple ways, I see you. I see you. And what I see in you is good, is light, is success, is movement towards victory. It's growth. It's positive change. It is a movement that helps others and that makes a positive difference. And I think when we can start lifting that up, we start to help people shift the story that they may have been told as a child, or that they may have had from difficult experiences, that they were a failure, or that they weren't very good, or that they weren't very smart, or that they weren't very capable. And we start to instead say, no, I see great possibility and potential in you. And I think that's what mentorship is. In some ways, that's what leadership is trying to help people find those great spots, that positivity, those places of strength in themselves, so that they can latch onto those places. Many of us are not very self-aware. We don't really understand where the strengths within us are. And we need each other. We need community to show us and teach us where those spaces are, so that we can become more self-aware and invest ourselves in those places of strength. And I think that's what good leaders do, that's what good parents do, that's what good friends do for each other, as we see and rejoice and celebrate the things in each other that maybe we can't see by ourselves. So that's number two. If you see light in someone, speak it. And then this is the third thing, and this is for you. I want you to hear me say clearly today that no matter where you are and no matter what you've been through, you are a beautiful story. Your life is a beautiful story. No matter what difficulties you're in the midst of, no matter what you've been through, no matter what hurts and disappointments and failures you've faced, you are a beautiful story. As a storyteller, we know, and you know too, we all know that stories can be broken down into this very simple structure of beginning, middle, and end. The beginning is awesome because it's a launch. It's the beginning. Everybody's excited. We're all celebrating. Hooray, here we go. It's going to be amazing. The ending is awesome too. It's the celebration when we come home. It's the confetti dropping. It's the cheering. It's the milestone. It's the speeches. It's the stories of triumph and conquest and all of those things. The middle is the hard part. The middle is the part where you struggle. The middle is the part where you look at your life and you look at what's going on and you're like, I'm not sure we're gonna get through this. That's the part with if you look at any story, the middle is the part with the drama and the pain and the hurt and the disappointment and the fear and the uncertainty and the mystery and the conflict and the unresolvedness and all of those things. If you are feeling like you're in a place right now that sounds like that sounds like you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where you're going and you don't know what's ahead and you're very concerned and you feel like everything is out of control, don't panic. That means you're in the middle. That means you are at that place in your life right now where the beginning is past and now you're having to do the hard work every day to reach the end. If everything looks difficult today in the journey you're taking, whether it's as a parent or it's in a new venture you've started or a new job, or it's a new relationship, or it's a new entrepreneurial venture or a creative venture, if everything seems difficult and it feels like you're in that struggle right now, it's because you're in the middle. And one day, as you fight through this difficult time, you will look back and you will see what you went through and how it led you to something glorious. Now, the reality is that ending may not be exactly the ending you expected. Where you end up may not be the place you set off to go in the beginning. That's okay. But there will be a day when you will look back at this part of your life, at this part of the adventure, and say, wow, that struggle sure did lead me to someplace amazing. And it may be that what you're going through is pretty heavy right now and really difficult. And maybe not every piece of it will be redeemed and will be fixed, and maybe it can't be fixed. But I do believe that there is something beautiful ahead for you. I do believe that you will find spaces where you will see value and meaning and purpose for the struggle you're going through today. And I believe that what hope does is it gives us the sense, all of us, that we can look to the future with positive possibility and believe that even in some of these darkest spaces, they can be transformed through faith and belief and commitment and love and goodness into something positive, into something that's a blessing for our own lives, for the world around us, and for the communities that we live in. I believe that very deeply, and I believe that's where your story is headed. That is why deep down in my core, I can say to you in this moment, you are a beautiful story. Your life is leading someplace, going someplace beautiful. And I can't wait to see where it leads you.